Literally Heinous. Literally Heinous with Lily Maslia.
Hello and welcome back to Literally Heinous, too literally, too heinous. It's a gorgeous day in New York City. I would like to say that it's hopefully officially warm all the time now that it's freaking June, but I don't know. It was really cold this weekend. So the Knicks are in the finals, and I want to talk sports. I don't want the Knicks to win. Yeah, I said it. I don't want the Knicks to win. I don't like people's attitudes. I think people are getting a little bit too unruly. And quite frankly, I'm scared. Okay. I am scared. I don't really like the masculine energy and like the chaotic rowdiness that sports brings. It really scares me. And the fact that there's already like seedlings and murmurings of like what's going to happen if the Knicks win, like even with the finals, I'm like, I don't want them to win. I don't even like the fact that they're in the finals. Okay. Like, I don't think anything good is going to come of it. I think there's going to be a lot of riffraff. And where I live in my neighborhood, I'm already scared. Okay. Like, I'm already on edge sometimes. Like, there's like stuff going on, and I cannot even imagine what will happen if the Knicks win. Like, I'm not like a pearl clutcher. Like, I'm not a NIMBY or anything, but like in my neighborhood where I live, and I love it sometimes. I not so much anymore. I am scared. I recently found out that there's a player who's 7 feet and 4 inches tall. And that was really alarming to find out. That was really scary. I don't know why someone is that tall. That is crazy to me. Hopefully, like, I'm out of town or something, like when the finals happen. I don't like that sports takes over everything. I don't like that it takes over my life because my fiance wants to watch it all the time. And it just like everything becomes centered around it, and it's not fun. And I don't know why the bandwagon fan thing annoys me, because I'm obviously not a fan of the Knicks to begin with. But I just sense like everyone is like getting a little bandwagony, and it's kind of like, girl, I know you weren't a fan of the Knicks until like 2 seconds ago. And maybe it annoys me on behalf of like true Knicks fans or something, or maybe it just like adds to the chaos. But no, I don't want the Knicks to win, and I'm not looking forward to the NBA finals. And don't even get me started on the World Cup. Okay. It's just like sports. They just overtake everything, and it makes everything expensive. And then people get in fights, and then there's like parades and riots, and like everything's expensive and overrun. And like the World Cup is like in all of America or something. I have not looked into the World Cup. I think my working theory is that it's in like every city every day in June or July or August. I don't know. And it's like things are already getting annoying because of it. So I'm dreading the World Cup. I don't like it. And it's like, what if like women had a hobby that overtook entire societies? Like, I would like to see that. Okay, so I wanted to talk about drinking and alcohol because it has been top of mind for me. I want to say recently, but low key since I was like 19. And I kind of have come into a new like drinking philosophy in the last few weeks that I wanted to share. And I just like have a lot of feelings around it and a lot of thoughts about it. And it's like alcohol is just so, it's been this like character in my life that has been so present, and it's like unavoidable. And I've had like a contentious relationship with it. It's gotten better over the years, but it's also like still something that I'm thinking about. So I have like struggled off and on with drinking. I think that like I've never been like dependent on alcohol. Like the way that alcohol is described and like alcoholism, I feel like it seems very black and white. And like going to AA meetings, like it seems like it's this thing that you're an alcoholic if you wake up every day and have a shot of whiskey, or like blacked out at work functions. And like it was never something like that for me. It was just like the point of like drinking and blacking out and getting to the point of blacking out. And I would definitely say that like it's gotten better over the years, but I am a blackout drinker. Not every time, obviously, but like I do have a tendency to do that, and it's horrible. And it was obviously worse when I was in college. And if you knew me when I was in college, I'm so sorry. I still have residual anxiety about like how many people that like I don't even know that know me because like I probably met them when I was blacked out and they probably think I'm insane and they're like, she's still alive. That's crazy. And it's gotten better over the years and now I'm kind of at the point where like, and this isn't even good too, by the way, but like I only like kind of black out or get to a point where I'm overserved, as my friend said that I should call it, which is hilarious. Maybe like like maybe 3 times a year. And I'm like, even that's not good, okay? But like I will say it's like gotten better the majority of the times where I'm like having a drinking night, which is like a going out night, whatever, a trip or just like out in the town. Like I would say like 85% of the time, like I'm good and like I have my wits together, like I can like I make it home, like I'm good. And then it's like that every once in a while, like the night gets away from me, I'm overserved or like I can't keep up. And then I'm kind of like, how'd I get home? And usually I'm always with Jack, my fiance. So it's kind of like, oh, it's fine. Like, whatever. Like, he makes sure we get home. But I'm like, it's still not okay. And like, when I talk to my friends about this, no one has ever told me, like, sat me down and like, you should stop drinking. It's never been that. Like, if anything, I'm harder on myself. My friends are like, you're fine. You're fine. You weren't annoying. Or like, you're fine. It happens, whatever. And I'm like, but does it though? Like, does it happen? So then there were two instances recently, like about a month or like maybe 2 months ago. Jack and I were having friends over to pregame for a concert and we were like slinging drinks in the kitchen and like Jack and I love to make drinks and love to make cocktails. And we had over like two couple friends. There were six of us. And I was just like making drinks for the girls. And like we were just having, it was one of those like really fun like pre-games where like the drinks are flowing and like we had like all like we restocked like our liquor and we had all these mixers and we were making like dirty martinis, espresso martinis, jalapeno margaritas, like whatever. And then we had pickle juice because we made something with pickles in it. So then we were doing like pickleback shots. And it was just one of those like pre-games where it was like conversation was flowing. And I like every drink that I made for a guest, like I made one for myself too. So I was just, I don't even know what got into me. And then I'm so drunk. We leave for the concert, get to the concert. I don't have my ID. That's a whole other, I keep forgetting my ID because I switched my phone case and now I don't have it in my phone case anymore. Luckily, the venue was only like a 5-minute drive. So Jack and I like Uber back to our apartment, Uber back to the venue. And then we get back into the venue. And the second I get in, I'm like, I have to go home. And then we went home. So it's like, we didn't even go to the concert really. And it was just, it felt really like college. Like it just felt, I was like, God, like I'm 28 and I'm like drinking too much. I don't even make it to the concert. Like that's so juvenile. And then the next fucking day, you guys, I was throwing up until 6 p.m. Yes. Oh my God. It was so, there's one hangover in my life that is like famous in my brain. And it was when I was living in Atlanta, my friends came to visit me. This was like a year out of college. And that will go down in history as the worst hangover I've ever had in my entire life. I would have to say that this one was probably number 3 or 4. I threw up until 6 p.m. and like it was one of those delayed hangovers. Like I woke up feeling like decent, like alive to tell the tale. And the thing is, I didn't black out that night though, like because I remembered like being at the concert, forgetting my ID, da 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 da. But like I was also just embarrassed and like embarrassed to face my friends and like it just I felt really childish. And then I just obviously couldn't eat anything. It was like threw up at like 2 p.m. and then I thought I'd be fine. And then I'd been really wanting to watch 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and it finally came out on streaming. And then I was like, okay, like this will cheer me up. Sometimes I like to watch like murder mysteries or thriller or horror movies when I'm having bad anxiety because then it makes my problems seem small. So we put on the Bone Temple and the opening, oh my God, I'm literally gonna throw up thinking about this. Like the first 10 minutes, there's this like giant zombie guy, like the head zombie. I'm gagging. Oh my God. Okay. And it's just doing his zombie thing, just like rips off someone's head and starts eating their brain. Ooh. Oh my God, I'm making myself gag. And I watched that and ran to the bathroom and threw up. And I was like, oh my God, like I cannot believe I just like watched something in a movie and then threw up. And then that continued until 6 p.m. It was so fucking bad. And the thing is that day I was supposed to edit an episode. And I was like, I'd reserved Sunday to edit an episode and whatever. And then I obviously couldn't do anything and then had to edit it like Monday. So there was that. And that I was like, oh, this was like maybe 2 months ago. So like about a few weeks into like doing my podcast full, then that was when I realized I was like, oh, I can't really be fucking around on the weekends. Like if I want to be having my episodes come out on Tuesdays, like I kind of need Sundays to edit. So I was like, damn. And then a few weeks later, Jack and I went on a beach trip with our friends to Florida, our friends from college. And it was a really fun trip. I like just so great. It was Jack's college roommates and like their wives, girlfriends, fiancés who like we've all like been friends for so long. And it was really fun. And this group is great. I always feel like they're kind of like my mature friends, is like how I put it. Like I'm the youngest in that group. I've just always felt like they like really had their lives together and everything. And they're so much fun. They're such a fun group. And then the trip was fun. And then the last night of the trip, we had like a ton of leftover alcohol that we needed to finish in the Airbnb. And it was just like last night vibes. And it was just like good vibes on a trip. And like kind of the same thing happened again, where I just like kept drinking and like just because we were having fun and we were talking, we were laughing and we were like playing games and whatever, and we had all this alcohol that we needed to finish. And like it's patchy, like I remember most of it, but like definitely was the drunkest there, like for sure. And, the next morning, Jack, I guess I had been kind of mean to Jack that night, and that makes me really sad. So we were kind of like beefing a little bit, but like I wasn't totally sure what we were beefing about, but I was embarrassed to ask. And I knew that I'd said something mean, and I also felt that like he said something mean to me back. And then, but I just, like when you drink too much and you're embarrassed to ask what happened, like it was like that. And then that night, and then just the embarrassment of like knowing that I was the drunkest one there, and obviously like me and Jack kind of being like a little wonky, because like we never fight like that, we never bicker, we never really like, or I guess we bicker, but like we don't have like tension like that. And then the whole next week I was off, and like I wasn't like putting out a podcast, and like I just felt bad about myself like for the whole week. And then like the tension with Jack, and then just like feeling bad, and then like not posting after that week. Then Jack and I like smoothed it over. He was like, it's fine. And I was just so embarrassed, because I just had this feeling that like everyone on the trip was like, wow, like Lily hasn't changed since college, like geez, like she's really like, so that was like my working theory of like what everyone was saying about me. And then after that was when I was like, okay, I need a reckoning. Like, I think that I have to like either be sober or like just get my shit together. But like, I cannot do this anymore. And like, I quit my job obviously like 2 months ago, and like I'm podcasting full time. Like I'm betting on myself. And with like the alcohol and the over drinking and like just the tendency that I have to overdo it, like I can't afford that anymore. And I can't afford like the anxiety, because now like anxiety, it's more than just like Sunday being anxious and like, oh, dreading work in the morning. Like my anxiety like carries over to how I present myself in my podcast and how I show up and how I'm like expressing myself creatively. And now I'm like, this is my career. So I'm like, I can't be fucking around. I need to be eliminating as many things in my life that are like stopping me from getting what I want. I'm like, it's a pretty like easy thing to cut out. Like it's a pretty like tangible thing to cut out. And so I like talked to Jack and I talked to my mom, and like they were both like, you don't need to quit drinking. Like you don't have a problem. Like sometimes you overdo it, but it's never anything like that bad. I'm like, I've never killed anyone. Jesus Christ. And then I was also kind of like bummed too. And I was like, damn, like, do I really have to like be sober for the rest of my life? Because I don't want to be sober for the rest of my life. Like I enjoy, like, I mean, the 85% of times, like I can hang normally. It's just that every few times, like sometimes I overdo it. So I'm like, do I need to do it? Am I punishing myself? Am I overreacting? Am I course correcting? So then this is what I landed on. So while I'm in New York, I'm not drinking. And like when I'm at home and when I'm in like work periods, because now like weekends are work. Like I record a lot of my episodes on the weekends. I do a lot of interviews on the weekends, and like I cannot drink the night before I podcast, because it like your brain just isn't functioning, and I need all the brain function that I can get. So, and I'm also like editing on the weekends. So I'm not drinking in New York. And also the other thing is I need to be saving money. Like I'm not making any money. Like all of my income is gone. I have money saved up for this. So it's not like I'm out on the streets. Like I have money saved, but I'm like, I can't like when I am going out drinking in New York sometimes, like I can easily drop like $100, $200 a night, like a weekend just on drinks. And the like I know the good spots in New York, like I can drink for cheap in New York and I know where to go. But then sometimes like those fun nights pop up when it's like I've also spent like $95 on 3 martinis one time. So like I need to be saving money. So that's another reason. And so when I am drinking, I'm limiting it to vacations and like tried and true vacations, not like a trip to like my brother's graduation in Syracuse, but like Italy, like that's a vacation. And then when I was in Hilton Head last week, I was kind of like going back and forth a little bit about drinking. And, because I was on a vacation, like it was a beach trip, but I was also like working on my podcast while I was there because I was editing my episode with Eric and like posting the content for that. So I kind of felt like I was working a little bit. So I ended up like not drinking the first 2 days. And then once my episode was like published, edited, and then all of my content was like scheduled and I had it releasing throughout the week, then I was like, okay, I can have a beer on the beach, or like, okay, I can get a cocktail with dinner if I want because my episode, like my work is done and I've already scheduled everything. And I felt like that worked and that was fair. And so then 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I was at a wedding in Cleveland for one of my college roommates. I lived with 8 girls and it was like the first wedding of our friend group. So it was really exciting. And so I went into that weekend planning on not drinking, and I'd made a TikTok about that and like posted it. And then Friday night, like a few of us were out at dinner the night before the wedding. And then one of my college roommates, she was like, I saw your TikTok about not drinking and I hope that the wedding's an exception because I really want you to drink and be fun. And I know she meant well, but I just like really hate comments like that because I was already having anxiety about not drinking. Like not anxiety in the sense that like I wanted to drink so bad, but I also like don't like telling people that I'm not drinking because I don't want people to treat me differently. And so much of like what I bring to the table in social situations is like, like funny and like conversation starter and a little crazy and like, getting the party going. And like, I love when people tell me that. I think it's a compliment. Like, I know that's why I'm invited to certain things is because like I turn up the heat. But I also like, so I have like a mixed relationship to that. I can also tell like when I think some people don't actually like want me there. They just kind of want me there if they're like hosting a party. And I can always tell if I like decline something, like if I decline a party or if I decline a bachelorette trip, I can tell how people feel about me based on their reaction to that. If they're like overly disappointed and they're like, oh my God, I was like so sad, we need you for the party, that I'm always kind of like side eye. I'm like, okay, I know I do bring the party, but I'm like, I don't know, it just feels kind of weird sometimes. So when my friend said that, like, I just kind of like shrugged it off because I also just didn't want attention for like not drinking. And so I ended up that night like ordering a non-alcoholic beer like discreetly. And I wasn't sure I don't think anyone noticed because I don't know, like I didn't want to get attention for it. And I just felt like if I could keep like my not drinking a secret, then like it wouldn't legitimize it. I just didn't want it to make it a thing. And then Saturday, the wedding rolled around. And then like at cocktail hour, then that was when it hit me. I was like, damn, I really want to drink right now. And so I was kind of like going back and forth with it a little bit. I was like, should I? And then I like asked Jack, and Jack the whole time has been like, yeah, do whatever you want. So he was like, you should if you want, like whatever, this is like a vacation kind of, it is a trip, like it's just one night, like it's fine. We had a really early flight the next morning. So it's like, I knew that even if I did drink, I would be fine. And then I asked my mom because she's obviously my moral compass. And she was like, have a drink, it's your first like friend group wedding. She was like, you look gorgeous. You're with like 8 of your friends, like have a drink. It's fine. You're on vacation. You're not working. You don't have to work tomorrow. Like all you have to do is like get up early for your flight. You're not interviewing. Just do it. So then I did end up drinking and it was fun. And it was fine. And like, I had a really good time. I was kind of glad I did. And I was like, I don't know if that's weird to be like glad that I did because like the majority of times, like I don't mind being sober. And like I've done dry Januaries before. Like I've taken like month-long, like 6-week-long breaks from drinking. So it's like I have gone out sober like many times. And it really just depends on the situation and like what's going on. And like for a wedding, I was like, I kind of want to be drinking and having fun. Also, my heels were hurting, and alcohol helped with the pain. And so that was totally fine. And the next day like was fine too. I was like a little slow moving the next day, but I had already like pre-edited my episode like the week before, so like I didn't even need to edit. So I decided that that was fine. The thing that has been annoying is because of this like rule that I made, it does feel like a little gray. I find that I have been spending a lot of like my brain energy on like deciding if I can drink or deciding like if it's worth it or not. And there was this girl who I went to high school with. She was a couple years older than me. And she gave me this piece of advice my freshman year of high school that I still remember to this day. And this was so wise of her because she was like a junior when she told me this. Um, and like I'm following that advice of like her 16-year-old self. She said, anytime that you're like debating on doing something that's a little naughty, if it's like, if you're debating on if you're going to drink one night, or if you're debating on hooking up with someone, or if you're debating on whatever, before you enter the situation, you have to make a decision on if you're going to do it or not. Because if you are a little bit like, no, I'll decide in the moment, you're always going to end up doing it. And if you just get real right with yourself, and if you just like get really clear with yourself before you're in that environment, before you're at the party, before you're on the date, before you're at the concert, whatever, you decide like of sound in mind if you're going to do it or not, then you go into that party or that date or whatever it is. And I thought that was such good advice. And I'm like still trying to follow it now. Obviously, I'm not following it, but I can see the point of what she was saying because, you know, with the wedding, I was a little bit like, no, I'm not going to drink, but like kind of unsure about it, like not sure if I was actually going to do it. And then the same thing with the family beach trip. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to drink or not, but then like I ended up doing it and like it was totally fine. I always just thought that that was really good advice. And I think that's helpful for me because I spend a lot of my brain energy deciding on if I should do it, if I can do it, if I deserve it, or like how I'm going to feel, or if I do drink, what I'm going to have, or like how long I'm going to space between them. And then that is when I get really like angry with alcohol as a being. And it's just like how much power I've given it over the last like 10 years since I've been like, since college, which is when I like started drinking. And it's like you give it so much power. And it's like this friend that like it's invited everywhere and has a big seat at the table. And everyone knows her, you know, like she's invited to everything. And then it's like she can be such a fucking bitch, you know, like it's the hangovers and the money and the embarrassment and the anxiety. And it's like so many negatives that I'm like, maybe I should just be completely sober. But then it's also, I have people in my ear, like everyone in my ear, disappointed when I'm not drinking at worst, or people just being like, well, I don't think you need to quit or whatever. Then it's also me being like, but I love an Aperol Spritz sitting on a patio in New York, or, you know, a beer on the beach. Like, I love that. Like, I love to be at a wedding and try like the signature drinks that the couple has. And I'm like, and I have to give all that up because of some like rule that I made up. So, and then it's just the whole fact that I'm like still struggling with this and like still having these conversations and like, I don't know. And it's like, why can't I drink normally? Like, why does it feel like everyone else can, but I can't? And then it's the same people that are like, you know, either disappointed that I'm not drinking or like telling me that like, I think it's fine. I'm like, you do not know how it feels to be a blackout drinker. Like, I have to remind myself that like, there's a lot of people have never blacked out before. And I'm like, you don't understand like how it feels to like wake up the next day and like not totally remember what happened, or, you know, be embarrassed to ask or pretend like you remember something that you didn't. And I know how that feels. And it's so bad, like so bad. And I just cannot give it that power anymore. And I'm just so fucking tired of it. And with like my podcast now, like this, like my podcast and my career, whatever the fuck that even is like all I care about. And it's like, I want it, like I want success so bad in whatever I do, if it's like the podcast or whatever. And like professional success has like always meant so much to me that I'm like, if alcohol is something that I can cut out, I will. And I'm just gonna like have to trust that this little like vacation drinking only thing works. And I think I just like kind of put myself in timeout a little bit. Like I'm in timeout right now and it's fine. And like I'm not punishing myself. Like I'm gonna, drink on vacations and like, wedding related things. Like obviously, like I'll drink on my bachelorette, like I'll drink my signature drinks at my own wedding and like mimosas in the bridal suite. In this new era of drinking, like the default for drinking is no. So like my default is like I'm not drinking because I'm working. Whereas it used to be the default for drinking was yes. Like, if everyone else is drinking, I'll get a drink. Oh, Thursday we're happy hour, Friday this, like Saturday we're doing that. Like the default was always drinking. So of course I'm bound to push it to the limit sometimes. But now that the default is no, when I am facing a situation where I'm like, okay, am I good to have a drink? Have I done all my work? Now I'm able to like analyze, have I worked on my episodes? Like, is it uploaded? Is everything ready? Is everything in order? Like, am I interviewing someone tomorrow? Like now I'm able to go through like a series of check boxes and decide if I can drink or not. And that like sort of mental gymnastics, I think prevents me from taking it too far. Hopefully. I don't even know. Like I'm hoping that this will work. And it's also helped like being sober in the city. I feel like it sounds kind of weird because it's like, it's New York. It's so much fun, like all the parties. And now that I'm in my like full-time podcaster era, I've had like a few more like events offered to me to go to, and I go to them and I'm sober at them. So when I went to like this Dolby and Audible thing that my old company invited me to, like we were out at the Bowery Hotel dinner and they were like offering, what do you want to drink? Everyone is getting dirty martinis and espresso martinis, and I didn't drink anything. And it was fine. And it was totally fine. Like the espresso martinis looked so good. But because like I was in work mode, like I have no interest in drinking. And then my friend Elsa invited me to like a really cool kind of like sceney party for launch for a fashion brand. And that was like on this like cool rooftop patio in Brooklyn overlooking the skyline. And that had an open bar and I didn't drink there. And that was kind of like, that was something where I knew, I was like, oh my God, like me a month ago, like I would have been at the open bar and I would have been like taking pictures in the skyline, but like I didn't drink there at all. And it was totally fine because I was in work mode. And if I'm able to put myself in these work mode mindsets, I don't need to drink because I love the fact that I'm like having conversations with people, like I'm networking, I'm talking about my podcast 100% sober. So it's like anything that I say, I know like comes from the heart, and I have no anxiety the next day because I'm like, anything that I said, like I said that of my own volition. You exchange Instagrams, you talk, and then the next day, remember every conversation that I had. I'm following up with people being like, so good to meet you. Let me know if you want to come on the podcast. And it was just like, I was so happy that I stayed sober. Like, I actually prefer not to drink there because I am such a loose cannon when I'm drinking. Like, I feel like sometimes even like 4 sips of alcohol, like I'm saying stuff that I wouldn't normally be saying. So I have no problem with that. So that's why like on vacation mode, when I'm with like my friends, then it's like, I'm fine to just kind of like let loose and hang out. But in New York, like I would so much rather stay sober. So that is all I have to say for right now. I hope this like it resonates with anyone. I think I'm not even sure if like this is all around just like stupid and useless and like I'm gonna end up like falling back into old habits and then eventually have to like get sober my whole life, which honestly is fine. Like I've honestly always like thought that at some point in my life I would be 100% sober, but we'll see how this works for now. I just had like so many people telling me that like I was being dramatic and overreacting that I'm kind of like trying to listen to them and like give myself grace because I'm really hard on myself. And I hate when people say they're hard on themselves, but like other people tell me that I'm hard on myself. So I'm trying to honor that, and I'm trying to not punish myself and like listen to other people saying that like I'm being dramatic. So like that's fine. So we'll see how this goes for now. Let me know if you have any similar thoughts or if I sound totally insane. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. And oh my God, the guest lineup is crazy. So just you wait. Thank you.